about the word problems, remember I said to make sure you read the question carefully and look for things like units not being the same. They always throw those in there, so be careful. You're going to identify what's being asked. You're going to write down the correct formulas, maybe even draw a sketch and label them if it's needed. And then you're going to make sure you write down the formula, what numbers you use, and you're asking, and then asking yourself at the end, does this seem reasonable? So here are the first two. I've given you a couple of minutes to do problem 1 and problem 2, correct? And so here are your answers for those problems. Okay, so this is a cone. It tells you the volume. The formula for volume is 1/3 area of the base times the height. The shape of your base. Sorry. So we have the problem strategy that I just talked about. We have the ice cream. So the area of the base is pi r squared. The height is the 1.2. Your radius, it was the 2 inches. So you got 5.03 inches cubed. Remember, it's cubed whenever we're talking about volume. On the second one, it was a rectangular prism. So it's just area of the base times the height. The shape of the base is a rectangle, so it's length times width. So it's 6 times 6 times 1 3/5. I'm assuming that if you missed this problem, that 1 3/5 is what got you. Okay? There's a couple of ways to think about this one. How do I get this in the calculator? Well, what is 3 divided by 5? 3 divided by 5 is 0.667. And I have to add 1 to it. It is not 1 parenthesis 3 divided by 5 because that means 1 times 3/5. That just gives you 3/5. It is 1 plus 3/5. Or if you wanted to think about this as a whole, if the denominator is a 5, then 5 over 5 is 1, correct? So 5 plus 3, if you made this 8 over 5, that would be the same thing. But you should get 1.667 as the height. So 6 times 6 times 1.67 should give you 57.6. Questions on either of those two things? Okay, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to work on the next two. Okay, so the next couple of problems are right here. So on a sphere, the formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. Remember, you make sure that you use that 3. It told us that the diameter was 9, which means your radius is 4.5. So it's 4/3 pi, 4.5. Then you use the caret 3 in order to get that exponent of a 3. Sorry. Okay, so 4/3 pi r cubed. Diameter 9, radius 4.5. So you should have had 381.7. And then on the castles, it tells you that it's a cone. So the formula, and be careful because it asks for the lateral surface area. How many of you found volume instead of surface area? Okay, somebody did. You got to make sure that you're reading carefully. So the formula for surface area, the lateral surface area, is pi r L. So my radius is 6, and then it wanted the slant height, which is this red line right here. It told you the altitude was 20, so we'd have to do Pythagorean theorem in order to find the slant height, which is going to be 20.8. That's your slant height. So your answer should be 392.07 feet squared because that one's area, not volume. Questions there? We're good? Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you another 6 minutes to do the next two problems on the back. All right, so these next two, they didn't give you a picture. Well, how do you know what this first picture looks like? What's the key that told you? I told you it had a diameter, so that means that my shape has to be a cylinder because it has a diameter. So the formula is area of the base times the height. The area of the base is pi r squared, right? And so my diameter was 24, but my radius is 12. So it's pi 12 squared, and then my height was 14. So you should have had 6,333.45. How many of you had that one? Here's your hand. Very good. On number 2, it says that it's a pyramid with a rectangular base. So that's 1/3 area of the base times the height. It's a rectangular base, so the formula for area of a base is length times width. So it's 1/3, 140 times 118, and then it told you that it stood 63 meters high. How many of you had number 2 right? Very good. Great job. Okay, say try the next 2, but be careful. The next 2 are a little... Alrighty, so here we go. The last 2 problems, they were a little tricky, weren't they? Yeah. Okay, so the first one was a swimming pool. So that's going to be a rectangular prism, right? So area of the base times the height, length times width times height. So you did 20 times 30 times 5. They were all in feet, so we were good. And you got 3,000 feet cubed. How many of you got that far? Okay. But then it was something about this gallons of water, and I wasn't sure. Well, it reads right here that a cubic foot of water is 7.5 gallons. So if I'm talking about having to convert right here, I'm going to take that 3,000 feet cubed. And remember, we want gallons, so we're going to put the gallons on top. So it's 7.5 gallons for every 1 foot cubed. Do you remember us doing this a couple of units ago? Okay, so I want gallon on top and feet cubed on bottom. And they told us it was a cubic foot. That's what gave us this part here. That allows this foot cubed and foot cubed here to be canceled out. And then I'm just going to multiply 3,000 times 7.5. And that should give me 22,500 gallons of water. It's a lot of water. A big pool. Yeah, but pools take that much, right?
Yeah.
Take forever to fill. Okay, on this other one, it was a king-size waterbed mattress. I want you to be careful. It says 5.5 feet, 6.5 feet, but then it only says 8 inches. It wants my answer in feet. So that means that inches, I need to convert to feet. How many inches are in a foot? 12. So if I have 8 inches out of a total of 12 inches, that means I have 0.667 feet, right? I don't have a whole foot. I'm short. So it's going to be a decimal. So some of you did 5.5 times 6.5 times 8 because you didn't realize that it said inches, correct? So we don't want that 8 in there. We're going to do 5.5 times 6.5 times the 0.667. And that would give us 23.84 feet cubed. But then it talks about how much does the water weigh. And water weighs 63 pounds per cubic foot. So 63 pounds, I want weight on top over the 1 foot cubed. I have 23.84 feet cubed. So just like we did a minute ago right here, these feet cubed are going to be canceled out. And I can multiply 23.84 times 63. And that gives me 1,502.25 pounds of water. Right? Question?
Yeah, what's the purpose of that cartoon?
What I don't understand is they get cubic centimeters into a round bottle. Cubic just means volume, right? Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's cubes, per se. And so they're wondering how you got the cubes in the bottle. All right.